We're live here with James, who we got connected on Instagram. He's going to help me with the StarStock SIFC collecting competition. I'm currently in third place, but have some moves I need to make. Thanks for helping me out, James.
Absolutely, man. So just to kind of give a little example of how we got in contact here. Big Delhi fan, obviously. Growing up in Toledo, Ohio, and all my friends were huge Cleveland fans. And 2016 was a fun year when you guys were cruising along the playoffs, and always a big Delhi fan, and obviously a huge fan of StarStock. So when I saw your name, I was like, okay, go. We got to get Delhi that championship, just like how Delhi brought us the championship. So got a little post going. Got a few of my buddies to tag you in a few things, and boom! Before I knew it, I was drinking with my friends out on watching some football, and I got a message from Delhi. Hey, let's set something up. I was like, hey, you can't say no to the GOAT. So absolutely. So here we are. So it's super excited.
Yeah, no, thanks for coming on and helping me out. And how did you get started in the card industry?
Yeah. So honestly, I've been in it my whole life. Been buying and selling cards since probably when I was 8 or 9, 10 years old. I'll never forget the hours of standing in card shows and my mom standing behind me and wheeling and dealing with people 5 times my age, and they're trying to rip me off, and I'd be arguing with them, and my mom's just sitting in the back laughing, and it evolved. Made good relationships. It's crazy because back when I first started, it was all in person. Now everything's e-commerce, different platforms, and now I have different card friends all over the country and talk to them daily. So just fun how how I started in the evolution of my collection, and then also kind of growing with the industry. So yeah, to sum it up, that's kind of how I got started.
No, that's very
So
cool. And then, I mean, I didn't know this until you messaged me later on after we'd already set this up, but you're actually an investor in StarStock, like I am.
yeah, absolutely. Um, I was watching some other platform or some YouTube channel, and Scott Greenberg, our CEO of StarStock, popped up and gave us the rundown of the company, and I immediately, I'm a finance guy, big finance guy. Always love stocks and love that aspect, love the visuals of it. Instantly emailed him because Scott is such a great guy. Where every time he gets off of any kind of interview or anything, he says, "Here's my personal email. Message me." And I remember him. I remember I emailed him like everything. Hey, like you guys need to change all of these things to make it in the industry. I love you guys. Like I love the platform, but these are the things you need to change. Like kind of like very hard, strong feedback in the beginning. Instantly email me back, like I would say probably 15 minutes later. He goes, "Dude, thank you for this. Can we set up?" Like, wow, this dude cares. And yeah, grew our relationship, like helping him out. And then I had the opportunity to invest in it, and no doubt, absolutely no doubt, it's such a great platform, and I could go on for hours, so I'm going to stop there. But yep, big investor and love it. Love StarStock.
As somebody who's deep in the industry, why is StarStock, the best platform out there to buy and sell cards?
Yeah, that's a great question because there are a lot of options to in our industry for different platforms these days, and all of them have their plus and minuses. But with StarStock, as you can see my collection back here, as it keeps growing, this isn't my fiance downstairs is pounding on the table every night saying, we you have too many cards. So you have the aspect of a secure system of it sitting in a vault with security, zero submission fees, great pictures, Another thing that I love is you can literally go on your phone and inventory. So if you said, "Hey, go find me, 10 Deli autographs," I would have to go look through boxes for hours to find these. But instead, in StarStock, I can literally go in and type your name in, and boom, I can see exactly what it is. So that's a huge factor for me when you're talking about a pretty big collection. And then you go into the aspect of the fees alone. The fees are super cheap. They'll beat anyone in the industry. And then you have even just like they grade them A, B, and C. So there's a lot of cards where you're buying. Like for me, I'm buying tons and tons of cards, and I'm trying to grade cards. I'm buying. Let's say I'm buying 100 cards off a different platform. Maybe 5 or 10 of them are gradable. But with StarStock, they have the A, B's, and C's, and with it already broken down, like what I'm buying. I know what I'm buying, and I'll pay a premium for that. Honestly, peace of mind, knowing what I'm buying, and I could go on and on, but it's going to be a great platform. It's evolving every single day. It's ran by a fantastic group, and the evolution of just the site itself. Every week there's a new update. Every week, the team is getting new on what's next. How do we improve? So super exciting stuff. It's incredible where it's at now from how it just launched in April. And there's already correct me if I'm wrong, there's like over 200,000 cards on there already.
Yeah, I think that there's almost over 250,000 now, and it's fun just to check in each day to see how many more they're adding each day, which is really cool. So the reason for our call, I mean, you think you can help me with my competition? Obviously, I'm a competitive guy. I've watched the NFL, since I've been over in America, but I'm an Australian trying to win this American football competition, which I think would be a pretty sweet victory for me. I'm sitting in third place right now. I've been bouncing between third and sixth. So I'll pull up my portfolio here so you can see what we're working with. So for those that don't know, StarStock have had this competition. Maybe I'll go back here. Can you see my screen there?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so we're in week 6 of 17. You see the leaderboard here. I'm sitting in third place there with a whole heap of card experts, fantasy football experts, and I'm doing pretty well, but there's always, ways you can improve, and I'm always looking to improve. So I'd love to know what you think I can do here. As we got, yeah, you go for it. These are my cards here. I went pretty hard at the Joe Burrow cards, obviously. Being a rookie with a huge following, and I think he's been doing really well so far and has a lot of room to continue to improve.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, making this pretty easy for me. Setting it right up. Classic Deli alley-oop here is what some people would call it. But anyways, what you have going here is great. So you invested in. I like how one thing that I always try and do is my collection. I try and do like a portfolio, like just like how I would for any kind of investments. So the 2 PSA 10s that you have, they're a big chunk of your allocation of funds. You didn't the Saquon. I don't that was a good buy at the time. But one thing that you got to be careful with is definitely injuries with the NFL more than, let's say, some of the other sports. But I still think that's a great buy. Cooper Kupp, great buy. I think where you're coming with that is great. The Dalton Schultz, I'm sure you got that for pretty cheap. So that's a good buy as well. I like the young guys that you bought. Honestly, if you were to buy any of the young guys, you hit it straight right on the head. So that's fantastic.
I'll give you a bit of my thought process into that. Like you said, I wanted to go with a couple of PSA 10s. Obviously, they cost more, but not as many of them out there. Obviously, Barkley got injured, and hope he has a speedy recovery. Never want to see that. But went with those two main guys, and then obviously the Joe Burrow got 4 of those cards. And then with the other guys, I was on fantasy football sites. I think it was RotoWire. I was looking to see who played well at training camp. So I did a bit of a deep dive on those. And I think the Chase Claypool had like 4 touchdowns last week or 2 weeks ago. And then CD Lamb has been doing really well as well. I'll just check what I got this card for. I think I got it for $3 and $2.99, and the last sale was for $9.99. So that's been a pretty good outcome so far. Go back.
Yeah, that's a good buy for sure.
Yeah, and obviously, none of this is investment advice, and it's just a fun competition with StarStock that I'm doing. But what would you recommend I do here? I mean, what are we 6 weeks in of a 17-week season? Who should I be holding on to? Who should I be, trying to sell? And is there anyone out there I should be looking to buy after we try to make those sales?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So just to kind of give you a rundown of the industry here, with, the cards that you have, the Prism Draft, they're in their college uniforms. So those are great because, they're the rookies of this year. They're going to have a lot of hype. But that's, if you look at the longevity of that, they don't really hold the value as they would in their NFL jerseys. So in the beginning, when they first release, they have a strong, there's a lot of liquidity in them, and, they sell for a little bit higher than they would in a year from now. But when the new Prism NFL unis come out, which is November 18th, these cards won't hold value. They're kind of be pushed aside, and people will be going towards those because those are the iconic cards. So even for myself, I buy a lot of those in the beginning before the season, and I almost look at it like I'm how I do research for fantasy football. I'm buying the same players, buying players before games. But if it was me, if this was my collection, I'm trying to liquidate as much of the college uniforms as I can. So when this new product comes out, I have extra funds to be spending money on that, because those will be the first things to depreciate. So that would be my first thing. With that, I think the PSA 10s, what you have of Cooper Kupp and Saquon, you're probably not going to see much fluctuation in price. I think you've already hit your hockey stick on that, where, you just hold that, and once you see a good price, you might have to take a loss, because also with the competition, with it being a shorter frame, you have a different strategy, which makes this even more fun. Because then you only have a certain amount of allocated funds. So that's one where you just want to kind of keep an eye on. Same with Cooper Kupp, though. Honestly, if you see a good price for that, I would take it, because you're going to want money to come out for the new Prism that comes out, because that's the stuff that will, if a player has a good game, the prices on those cards are going to be the first ones to appreciate rather than some of the others.
Okay. With that being said, with these other cards with the draft pick ones in their college uniform, should I be trying to sell those even if it is at a small loss, just so I have some money to spend on those rookie Prisms in their NFL uniforms when they come out?
Yeah. So, I think it's too early to sell for a loss. The way that I look at it is I look at different releases of all the different products coming up. So I look at it like a time frame. So I have until November 18th, which is where Prism, the regular one, will come out. So you have up to there to keep an eye on them, and then basically you will want to sell during that time. If you can sell it early or later, it's fine. But then you can reallocate to funds. So let's say you sold all of your cards today.
Yeah.
What I would be buying would be like a stable card, like an iconic, even more expensive card like your Mahomes, Lamar, Kyler, Josh Allen. Those where you don't have to worry about unless an injury, where they're high liquidity, where you could sell them as soon as November 18th hits, and then you can reinvest your funds for maybe a little more riskier, higher, higher ceiling, like higher gains for you.
Yeah. And then one of the things I was weighing up when I was, trying to do some research on this was, do I go for, the superstar, with the more expensive card, where there's not many of them, but then there's less volume of sales, or do I go for, more of a mid-range player or even the star player, but not as exclusive of a card where there's a lot more volume and cards being traded on it? What do you think?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So the way I look at it is, and I try and do 80%, 80-20. So 80% is more of like your stable, higher end PSA 10s. PSA 10s are, good no matter what the card is. That's going to be the best card you can get is a PSA 10 of that player, of that set, or vice versa. So I like the aspect, like you kind of already did that with, your thought process for that.
Yeah.
So it's kind of just spreading the risk where, and that's where another thing I wanted to bring up where, use that 20% for that risky, like, where someone could come out of nowhere that you read, or you feel like this person's going to do pretty well, and take that risk with that 20%. But let's say if that 20% doesn't pan out and you have to sell it and take your losses and take half you're only really losing 10% of your allocation of funds, and your 80% will pick you up. Let's say your 80%, gets you to an extra 35%. So it's all kind of a numbers game with that. And with this competition, it's fun because it's basically going to end like at the Super Bowl, right? The last day of the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
Like
I think it's 24 hours after the Super Bowl. Yeah.
Yeah. So the way I would do it is, basically buy and sell during the year and the playoffs. And, when you're getting close to the playoffs, that's when you really want to be shrinking your inventory to bringing more of your stable, tier A, quote unquote, tier A type of cards that that you can sell at the last day without a problem and without taking a loss. But yeah, so that's another thing too, is there's a lot of factors like looking at playoffs, like, when you're getting to week 12, even week 15, like close to that, you're going to be wanting to transition your players into players that you think will be making a run in the playoffs.
Yeah. No, so I think, yeah, it would probably be good to try to do a few more trades. I don't think I've done any so far, but and then I have, no money left to buy any other cards right now. So I think, yeah, if I try to maybe sell a couple of them, I've listed them for pretty high prices just in case somebody buys them. So, if they have a big game or something like that, or somebody wants to pay a higher price. So yeah, no, I'll try to get some of those listed, and maybe watch the games a bit more closely on a Sunday and see if somebody's having a big game, like a Chase Claypool who had 4 touchdowns the other day. I was pretty excited to see that.
Yeah. And one little tidbit that I wanted to bring up too is, and this is the reason why I love StarStock, because the way I look at it is, and I look at certain players and certain teams, and I'll look at their schedules. Let's say, like for instance, the Bills play the Jets next. The Jets are obviously not the team where the best of defense. So, for instance, they're playing the Jets, the Pats, and the Seahawks. So I'm looking at a 3-game spread, and I'm looking at maybe, okay, who's undervalued, who might have a huge game, because everyone loves buying and selling the cards of the, the player that's on all the highlights. Because
Yeah.
I do that too. I'm like, oh, I forgot. Chase Claypool. I honestly I forgot how good he was, and then the last 2 games he went off. I'm like, okay, now I'm looking into his cards. So also that's what brings in the fun part where you can use that 20% where you're doing that research. And I literally, what I do is I write down the teams of the quarterbacks and the different players that I like to, that I think have a lot of potential. And I'm looking at their 3-game spread and I'm like, ooh, there's a juicy match. Like they're going to have an easy 3 games. I'm going in and buying their cards cheap, relisting them at a higher price and kind of using that to my advantage, because with StarStock, I don't have to wait a week to buy it, get the card, and then have them send it to me, and then I have to list it and returned. I don't have to deal with all that. I can literally buy it before, let's say at noon on Sunday before the game, and sell it during the game without having to even touch the card. So you can use that to your advantage. And don't forget about the big games. So Monday night, Sunday night, the games that a lot of people are like, the masses are watching that one game. Use that to your advantage where, oh, there's going to be a lot of people watching so-and-so tonight.
Yeah.
I think, like, if you think a little bit ahead of time, you can even sell that. Like, you could buy it on a Thursday, and you could sell it even before the game and still make an easy 10%. It's all about numbers. So, as long as you're making a profit on every single card, you don't have to hit a home run every single time.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's a good point. I think if there's profits there to be had, I should maybe take it off the board and be comfortable sitting on a little bit of cash, just waiting for a good opportunity, like you said. I think that's great. I'm gonna try to implement some of those things, and then I think I'll if you got any hot tips coming up once I've sold a few of these, you'll have to let me know. But thanks for doing this. Where's the best place for people to find you? I know you've got an Instagram account.
Yep. So I have an Instagram where I do a lot of different bits on content for buying and selling cards. It's StarStock Investor, and I just recently opened a YouTube channel as well, which is Sports Card Investment Group. So really excited about that. It's honestly just going to be a hodgepodge of different things that I've learned through the industry. My main goal is just to give back. I'm not going to be selling anything. I just want it to be fun, talk cards. And, my biggest thing is I want dialogue. I want people telling me what they want to learn or hear advice and just have a good time. I have no expectations of where it's going to go. Just excited for it. So just want to grow the hobby and help others the way people have helped me.
Yeah. No, that's awesome, and I'll make sure we link to this when it goes up. But thanks very much for doing this. It was fun for me to learn more, and thanks for those tips.
Glad that you're a StarStock brother, and excited to see you win the championship again here, and bring it home, man.
We'll see what I can do. Thanks, Jace.